This and so much more on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Like the video. Yes. Welcome back to another episode of Quiet Storm Sports here on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. I'm your host, Sutton Duff here, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming through. Whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay of this episode here, today is March 31st, last day of March, and we're still getting very relevant Ravens news by the day, man. It's been quite the offseason, I'll tell you. I mean, from, how it kicked off with firing Harbaugh to hiring Minter and a whole new staff to the whole Max Crosby debacle to then getting Trey Hendrickson and other free agent losses and things like that. This has been one whirlwind of an offseason thus far. But I'm telling you, man, I can't get enough of it. Why? Because I get to get on here and talk to you guys about it. So if you like listening to me yap about our Baltimore Ravens, right, or just NFL or sports in general, please go ahead and consider subscribing if you are new here to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. But also, most importantly, make sure you like the video. Leave a thumbs up on the video. That helps us out a whole lot here on the channel, helping us be found by other people so we can continue to grow this community called the Rain Gang family. Episode 400, by the way, of the Purple Rain Podcast, the main pod with me and Alex, is right around the corner. And on episode 400, we are going to be doing a giveaway for some Purple Rain merch. So if that does sound good to you, all you have to do to qualify for that giveaway is join our membership here. That's our Purple Rain patrons here on the YouTube channel. We appreciate each and every one of you guys as well, and definitely want to see what you guys got. See which one of our members are in here tonight. We do have some people in the chat. Let me see. We got King Blaze. What's going on, King Blaze? What up? Maddie Boom, what's going on? Maddie Boom says, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it, brother. We got some things to get into, man. I mean, because listen, I might get a little bit passionate on this one. This is just going to be a little disclaimer because it brings tears to my eyes. What it seems to be kind of brewing right now in Baltimore. And I'm going to get into it, so make sure you stay tuned. Shout out to you, Maddie Beam. Dre, what up? Quoney, what up? What's going on? Appreciate y'all. Again, if you're part of the hashtag replay gang, make sure you leave your comments, questions, concerns down below in the comments section. And always leave the hashtag replay gang. We appreciate that here on the channel. But yeah, guys, so as we talked about yesterday on the main pod, Alex and I, you had Sashi Brown talk yesterday at this owners meeting that they've got going on in Phoenix, Arizona. And it continued today. And this morning, and I didn't even know that this was going to happen. It kind of blindsided me. The Ravens went live, and there was Jesse Minter, and he was getting interviewed. And I was listening to the press conference, and I guess I'll just start with this. The press conference was actually very, very lengthy. I think Sashi Brown spoke to the media for maybe about like 15, 20 minutes, somewhere in that range. No, they had Jesse Minter up there for a healthy half an hour. It felt like it would never end, but they were asking some really good questions. They're trying to, of course, the Ravens media, they have this new kind of shiny toy in front of them that is Jesse Minter, and they kind of have to pick his brain here at every step of the way. So I get it. But a lot of good information dropped from that, man. Longmire, what's going on? I see you in the chat. A lot of good information dropped. And I want to start with this because I want to pose, a question to you guys. Shout out to everybody who's watching on YouTube. Shout out to everybody who's watching on X. But whether you're watching on either or, I have a question for you. So put your answer in the chat. What do you feel about Jesse Minter saying what he said? And more importantly, how do you feel about Jesse Minter being able to bring guys in for training for the first time on April 6th? Who do you think's going to be there? Who do you think's not going to be there? Should guys be there? That's going to be the first thing that we're going to open up with here on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Let me switch my screen for you guys, show you guys a little bit what I'm talking about here. So this was the first thing, right? You have Jesse Minter. He's talking about whether or not he would categorize Lamar Jackson's expected offseason program participation as up in the air, quote unquote. Because again, April 6th, which is literally about a week from today, they're going to be able to start training. So we're going to see who is really, really bought in the most, I think, to this new kind of regime, this new era of Ravens. Who's going to show up and put in some work in April. Because and it's all voluntary. So the guys don't have to come, they don't have to show up. It's all voluntary. And we got a long time until football starts again. It's literally, I know I'm talking about April 6th, but right now, as I'm recording this, it's March. So you better sit back, get yourself some snacks, kick your feet up, because we got a long way to go. Long way to go till August. So it's going to be kind of telling who shows up and who doesn't because it's just so early in the offseason. But let's take a listen to what Jesse Minter had to say about Lamar Jackson, whether or not he's going to show up on April 6th.
I think Lamar is really excited about what we have going on. I think he's excited about opportunities in the offseason program. And again, we'll see on April 6th, we'll see who all walks in the door.
Yeah. So obviously, Jesse Minter's not sure who's going to walk through that door yet, but I want to get you guys' take. Do you think that everybody should show up? Is it a big deal or is it really no big deal? Here's where I land on it. I land on it personally. It's a huge effing deal. It's a huge deal. And I mean, for everybody from Lamar Jackson to Bilal Kone, I think everybody needs to be there. And the reason why I say that is not because I think that, all these players need extra discipline and whatnot. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, though, is that if the Ravens are going to be serious, and Declan Doyle kind of alluded to this one of the last times he was interviewed, but if you're going to be serious about wanting to win a championship, I think you have to look at first the odds of you winning a championship. The National Football League is a professional football league that consists of 32 teams. So you've got 31 other teams, professional teams, that have the 0.5% best football players in the world competing against you. What am I saying here? The margins are super slim. The room for error, the margin for error is super slim. You have to have, I think you personally, you have to have that mentality, coaches and players alike. They're like, hey, we got to wake up an hour earlier than those guys do. We got to start training a week earlier, a month earlier than those guys do. We got to start getting on the same page 2 months earlier than everybody else. We want to be cooking with grease. We want to hit the ground running when the season starts. That's the type of energy and tone that should be set early on in the offseason. Early on in the offseason. Now, that's just me. Some of you guys might be thinking, Sutton, it's really no big deal, Bubba. It's April. These guys, they don't have to show up. Let them be with their families. Whatever. Cool. And maybe I feel a little bit different about it if, we weren't talking about, literal millionaires here who get paid millions to play a game. And, obviously they pour their blood, sweat, and tears into it on the field. And you can tell with their emotions as well. A lot of football players wear their heart on their sleeves. We've seen it even with our best players. If you're that emotional about it and you remember all the scar tissue that was built up over the hardball years for some of those vets on the team where seasons ended in heartbreak for one reason or another, why would you not want to start off on the right foot with this new era? So no, I'm a big advocate of guys showing up to OTAs as early as they can. Now, when we talk about Lamar is a guy who historically, and I want to put this out there, I want to make this very clear. Historically, when Lamar Jackson has a new offensive coordinator, he will show up to OTAs. He will make sure he's on the same page with those guys by showing up at the earliest of training events possible, which I've always respected. Now, when you're getting an OC who's, is in a second or third year, okay, Lamar dials back the participation a little bit. He dials it back, which, again, I respect that as well. 2-time MVP. He's a vet in this league. If you already know the system, You went through a full season in this guy's system. Sure. Would I still like you to show up day one, no matter what coach, if it's the same coach? Yeah, I would personally. Me, if I was a head coach, and I'm sure Jesse Minter wants the same, but I would understand it, is what I'm saying. I would understand it. Ashley, what up? Tila, what up? We got some members in the house now. Chris, what up? What's going on, y'all? Good evening. Money Mike is in the chat. Kenny's in the chat. What's up? What's up? What's up? What do y'all think about this? Do y'all think that these dudes should show up on April 6th? Because, again, I do. I do. If you're going to say you're serious about something, you got to show me. Earliest opportunity. Don't put it off, right? I mean, we'll see, though. We'll see. I do think that if I had to put some money down on it, I do think that I think Lamar will be at the first training event, April 6th. He may not be there for, weeks and weeks after that. He's going to obviously go off and do his own thing, but I do think that he will be there to begin with. And, Jesse Minter also talks a lot about how his relationship with guys on the team, and people ask him namely about Lamar Jackson, how those relationships are getting along, like how are they developing? And, Jesse Minter's been very open about it, saying like, it's going to take time. You're not just going to become best buds with these dudes overnight. Jesse Minter at the end of the day inherited a whole team. He inherited a hell of a team at that, with multiple all-pros, Pro Bowlers, guys who really, with the things that they've accomplished in this league, don't really have to answer to nobody, So it's a daunting task if you're Jesse Minter, but I'm not worried about it, especially not with Lamar, just because of how much of a gamer he is. He did mention he's had conversations with Kyle Hamilton, which I was delighted to hear, for sure. But Kenny says also to build trust. I guess you're saying that they need to show up. I think so. Yeah, he better be there. Voluntary, my ass. Yes, everyone needs to be there. You got that right, Chris. If you want to build a strong team, yes. Oh, yeah, ready for the workout session tape. James, what up? What up? What's going on, James? Yeah, so let's go ahead and move along here, because there was a couple of different things that I wanted to touch on in terms of Jesse Minter's presser today. We'll see who walks in the door. Yep. He also talked about Mike Green. I thought that this was very encouraging to hear.
Yeah, I got a lot of confidence in Mike Green. Loved him coming out. He was high on our board there. And so I was joking with him. We had brought him in, I think, for a 30 visit last year. And so it's meant to be now that we're together. And so very excited. And I think now he'll have a guy in the room, and Trey, that he can really learn from, that he can learn some of the nuances of rushing the passer. Those guys will work well together. Oftentimes when you have a guy on one side, it creates even more opportunities for the guy on the other side. And so Mike should be very excited, because I feel like he's going to have a lot of opportunities to impact the game. And we're excited about him. And just like anybody, I think your first year to your second year is often a big jump. And just understanding, the level that it takes, the preparation that it takes. Mm-hmm. And so excited about Mike. Yeah.
Good stuff there on Mike Green. Love that. Absolutely love that. I'll get to that in a second. We do have a super chat donation. This one's coming from Maddie Boom. What's going on, Maddie Boom? Dropping the 5-piece in the chat. We appreciate you, brother. Let's see. He says, what's up, Sutton? After hearing Sashi, in your opinion, what percentage chance we get new uniforms next year? I think that percentage is very, very high. I would go 90 or above. Yeah, 90 or above, because he said that, it's a lengthy process, quote unquote. These are his words, not mine. It's a lengthy process. And he also alluded to the fact that if they were going to do something like that, it wouldn't be until I think he said something like the process wouldn't start until next year or something. But what is given to me is that in the next 365 days, I think we can expect some new uniforms. And I'm looking forward to those. Me and Alex talked about it yesterday on the show. I was saying how I would like them to kind of modernize it. I saw some good recommendations actually in the comments for last night's episode of the Purple Rain podcast, and I appreciate you guys for commenting on our videos as well. But some people were saying like, change the. Well, I would like this. I would like the B back on the logo. You guys know the B logo for the Ravens, the big purple B. I would like that in kind of like a modernized, like a sleek way. Somebody said those Seattle Rivals jerseys, but in like Ravens colors, those would go crazy. I don't know about, for week in and week out use, but either way, I think the Ravens need a uniform change. I think it's totally necessary. And I also think that I think that's going to happen in the next 365 days. Thank you so much, Maddie. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. Let me see here. So yeah, you talked about Mike Green, guys, and the reason why I wanted to talk about Mike Green is because he's right. Mike Green's going to have a crap ton of opportunities, right? A crap ton of opportunities where he's going to be one-on-one with guys on the outside. For example, let's take a look here. This was a pass rush on 3rd and 11 last year, Chargers defense versus the Minnesota Vikings offense. And I showed this last night on the PRP, the main pod, but just to kind of paint the picture again for you, what we're looking at here, what we're going to be looking at with Trey Hendrickson on one side rushing the passer on these 3rd and long situations. So imagine Trey Hendrickson is Khalil Mack over here, number 52 on the left-hand side of your screen. And he's the one who's going to be getting all of the attention. All of the attention. He's going to get chipped by the tight end here before the tight end releases. Hell, he's going to get chipped again by the running back, and then the right tackle is going to be looking for him as well. So he's going to have 3 guys trying to keep him off of the quarterback. And I think you're going to have the same sort of respect given to a Trey Hendrickson, and again, these 3rd and long scenarios. So what is that going to do? What is that going to do? If you go on the right side, we have our old pal, Adafe Owe. Again, I mentioned all this last night on the main pod, but I had to bring it back up because Minter mentioned Mike Green again this morning, and I feel like it's super relevant to talk about just how impactful he can and should be next season, right? So you see Adafe Owe on the far right-hand corner of your screen because there's just so much allocated blocking towards the Khalil Mack side. It's literally one-on-one Adafe Owe versus the left tackle here, And I'm not going to play the whole thing, but basically, long story short, you can see here, I kind of fast forwarded a little bit. You got 3 guys. You got the tight end trying to get out here and block Khalil Mack. You got the right tackle looking for Khalil Mack. You got the running back, Aaron Jones, looking for Khalil Mack. Meanwhile, you got Adafe Owe just one-on-one, where he can just tee off, beat one guy, and you're at the quarterback. Boom. This is how good teams scheme up sacks, right? This is how you end up getting those situations where you have a star pass rusher that everybody knows. But then on the other side, there's a guy who's low-key getting some good play too, but that's because there's just so much gravity and attention focused to one side. Think like Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, right? When those two were coming out, everybody, of course, Aiden Hutchinson was the guy, at Michigan. And Ojabo was kind of like that second guy. He was still really, you could tell he was good, but he was getting opportunities also because there was so much attention towards the one side with Aiden Hutchinson. Same thing here. And this is what's going to happen in Baltimore. And oh, by the way, you see these guys on the interior here. These guys on the interior, that's going to be Travis Jones and hopefully Nnamdi Madubuike, right? So they're going to be terrorizing the interior. Going to be focusing all of your blocking resources trying to get Trey Hendrickson in check. And then you're going to have Mike Green or Tavius Robinson off the edge or whoever the Ravens choose to draft. The Ravens are in a good spot defensively. The Ravens are in a super duper good spot defensively. I can't talk about it enough. I definitely want to see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Let me read through. Let me see. Let's see. I'm excited for Peebles too. Yeah, Aeneas Peebles is another guy who I think he's going to have some really, really good opportunities on some third and longs to get after the passer, right? If we need to rotate out a Travis Jones or, one of the bigger guys with somebody who's a little bit more athletic, like an Aeneas Peebles, not the best stop in the run, but getting after the passer, I, especially with mentor schemes, especially with mentor schemes, I think Aeneas Peebles is going to absolutely thrive. He's going to thrive in this system. And the thing that I think I like the most about Jesse Minter and his defensive scheme, and I promise I'm going to get to the offensive side of the football here in a minute. But the thing I think I like the most about Jesse Minter's pass rush scheme is how he creates so much chaos on the inside, on the interior. It's like he overloads, not physically necessarily, not physically overloading, but mentally overloading an offensive line. It's actually incredible to witness. Let me actually go full screen right here. So let me show you guys again. Like I said, you've got Khalil Mack on the outside here who's taking up all the attention. You've got Adafe Owe who then gets the one-on-one privileges because Khalil Mack is demanding all of that attention. But on the inside here, you see, you have two linebackers who are literally in front of a wall of Minnesota defenders. I mean, not defenders, Minnesota linemen. So it's like you might think, oh, Adafe Owe clearly got the sack here. Nah, no. It was one of these guys on the interior who got it. And the way that they got it was by running this little stunt, this little pick play here, where one guy slams into the next guy and that opens up 45 to go over the top, right? And get to Carson Wentz. It happens really quick. See right here? 50 is going to slam into, I think that's Brandel, the center or the guard right there. Or the center, I'm sorry. And he's going to pick him. And 45 is going to go right around the top. And that still doesn't stop 52 from getting to the passer. It's like you're overloading. Now look at the O-line. O-line's panicking. They're panicking. One guy's falling down. Oway's springing free. But if you're Wentz, you can step up through the pocket to get away from that. Problem is, the interior of your O-line is panicking right now. It's in shambles. And this is what Jesse Minter's defense does. He creates so much chaos on the interior. Nobody really talks about this. Creating this much chaos on the interior of the trenches is crazy. And again, it allows guys like Owe to get home. Why do you think Owe had so many sacks? A lot of times he was just cleaning up. Listen, man. It's going to be an amazing defense, I think. But let's get back to Minter, though. What did he also say? He also said he was asked whether the team currently has a starting center on the roster. Minter said they are excited about a few of the O-line who were added, but noted that late March depth charts don't mean much, and the Ravens are still adding. Translation, no, we do not have a starting center on the roster. I'm not gonna crap on the guys, on the O-linemen we did sign. I'm not gonna crap on Pinter. I'm not gonna crap on Corey Bullock, who I inherited on this team. I'm not gonna crap on Javon Gwynn. You know what I'm saying? We'll see, right? But basically, it's late March. Our roster right now is as good as irrelevant. That basically means no. We do not have a starting center on the roster, which makes me believe that, first 3 rounds of the draft, one of those rounds will go towards the center. I've seen a lot of people talking about like a Sam Hecht if they decided to go outside of round one. Round one, obviously, there's Spencer Fano, who's going to be there, who is a very versatile tackle, a versatile O-lineman. He can play tackle, can play some center as well. But I definitely think that this was an indication that the Ravens plan on going center in the draft with one of their first 3 selections. I think you can book that. The Ravens will go center with one of their first 3 selections in the NFL draft. Maybe not a hot take, right? But That's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen. Okay. Let's see. What else we have? Oh, Logan Jones is another guy. Yeah. I've heard a lot about Logan Jones as well. Let me see. All right, so this was an interesting one. Jesse Mentor said decisions on whether to play vets or starters in the preseason will be more individually based. He said the preseason can be very beneficial for young players. Uh, this is another thing for me, and I said this last preseason, and I got killed for it. I don't know why, but I got killed for it. I said I want starters playing in the preseason. I do. If you're one of these folks who is a huge advocate of guys sitting out during the preseason, we're not the same in that regard. We're not the same. If your fear is that your starters are going to get hurt in a preseason game when they're getting ready to go and play 17 weeks straight with a bye week somewhere mixed in there of hard physical football once a week, I'm sorry, but it probably just wasn't meant to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're getting banged up like that in a preseason game, because my point is, it could happen at any time. It's football. It's a dangerous sport. However, in order for you guys remember what I said at the top of the show. In order for you to hit the ground, running, you have to make sure all your bases are covered, and that includes everybody showing up to OTAs. That includes guys playing in the preseason. Again, this is my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. This is how I feel. It's important. It's important, especially, if you're a returning player, if you're a new player, whatever. It's important to feel that contact. You don't get that in training camp. Hell, you barely even get it in the joint practices. You need to feel game speed hits and game speed contact. Kind of flips a switch in your brain mentally that has you ready to go, locked and loaded for week 1. So you're not tentative, That's what it is for me. I'm not saying, guys, that, starters have to play 2-3 quarters, 2-3 possessions even. Hell, I'll go 1 or 2 possessions, then pull them. Hell, that's what they used to do. Why do we stop? It's like we got soft or something. I don't understand it. I don't get that. But hey, maybe you guys know better than I. I wouldn't mind a few snaps. See, King Shiesty says just 1 or 2 quarters just to warm up. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with that at all whatsoever. So, let me see. Okay, let me see here. Tila says, wouldn't mind a few snaps. Why did my thing go all the way up? It's annoying. Q the God. What's going on, Q the God? Salutations, brother. Salutations. Told y'all it was a soft Ravens era. Great One says, so you went 8-22 playing preseason games. Stop it, fam. Ravens Nation would cry for the heavens at the coaching staff. Stop it, fam. I mean, I guess the rest of Ravens Nation would cry for it, but I'm telling you right here, right now, I would actually prefer that. Yeah. I would want Derrick Henry to get a couple of snaps in the preseason. That way, maybe in week 1, he doesn't fumble the game away. I don't know. Again, if he's going to get hurt in a preseason game where a lot of guys are going half speed anyway, or 75% speed anyway, if he's going to get hurt in a game like that, when you had a 17-game season right around the corner, hey, man, it could have happened in any one of those games or postseason. It's football. It just is what it is. Shout out to everybody watching live right now. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to like this video. Please like the video. Helps us out a whole bunch here on the channel. We got 25 likes here so far. We got 51 people watching live on YouTube, a couple people watching live on X as well. If you're tuned in, make sure you like the video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on X, please be sure to give me a follow here at Sutton Def. We do come out with daily Ravens content. Let me see what else you guys got here. I completely agree. A few serious and a game won't hurt. Exactly. Juju Bean says Henry playing in the preseason isn't changing anything. He fumbled the game away in week 15 too. They're Hall of Fame fam. Stop it. So you guys aren't big. Okay, that's cool. All right, salute. But I agree with Tila. They have the same risk going out there and getting hurt week 1. The exact same risk. And they have an even higher risk as the season goes on and the kind of wear and tear builds up and stuff like that. The games only get riskier and riskier and riskier as the season goes on. And guys are already playing on injuries and whatnot. So, hey, I just think they need to play. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. We're going to knock on wood for that one, though, because we definitely don't want any guys getting hurt. All right, let's see what else we got here. So this one was near and dear to my heart. Near and dear to your boy's heart. Jesse Minter, bigging up Rashod Bateman, my boy. Bateman truthers, stand up. Bateman, wait, listen, man. Where my Bateman truthers at, man? Stand up. They told us we was down and out, bro. They told us he was getting traded. But guess what, man? We back. Jesse Manor says here, I've got a lot of confidence in Rashod Bateman. I know he's hungry. He's ready to get back to what he is. And I love the fact that he used the present tense. He didn't say what he was, like he's washed up, a has-been. He said what he is. And this is what I was telling y'all a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Rashod Bateman and what we can expect from him this upcoming season. I think that Declan Doyle and Jesse Minter came into this organization and they looked around the lay of the land and see the pieces that we have on offense to work with. And they said, what's going on with that 6 foot plus, great hands, great route running wide receiver? And whatever you want to say about great hands, he has some drops. They all do, right? But he's also made some really good plays throughout his career. You can't refute that. But yeah, what's going on with that guy? Can we get him back going again? Like, can we? It's like you guys got like a freaking, like a rare sports car almost, like that you don't even use. It's like not too popular on the market right now, but you soup it up a little bit. You add that new transmission in it. You get it on the road, it's crushing. That's how they're looking at Rashod Bateman. He just needs a little tune-up. And he's gonna get back to what he is. He just needs a little tune-up, and Rashod Bateman will get back to what he is. That's all. And Minter sees that. And this is why I think that. This is why, again, like I said at the beginning of the show, I low-key, I'm getting so excited just thinking about this team led by Jesse Minter for a multitude of reasons outside of defense. Like I just mentioned with Rashod Bateman, him saying this gives me so much confidence in him being able to actually unlock the talent that is on the roster already. Outside of whoever we get in the draft, things like that aside, Jesse Minter has kind of been slowly but surely exposing his offensive philosophy. Slowly but surely. Let's rewind a week ago. Ravens Wired episode, right? Jesse Minter said something very important in my eyes about Lamar Jackson. He said, and I quote, "My number one priority is Lamar Jackson." He didn't say getting the defense back to bully ball Ravens defense and the Ray Lewis days and I want to turn Roquan into Ray and Kyle Hamilton into Ed. He didn't say any of that. Number one priority is Lamar. That was last week. Today, he's talking about Rashod Bateman, not just like some cut rate receiver. Yeah, we like our guys. We expect all of our guys, yada, yada, yada. No, I like Bateman. And I got a lot of confidence in that guy. And he's going to get back to being what he is, not what he was, what he is. And we see the vision with him. You know, it's like Jesse Minter was like sold a storage unit. And he found a couple things in the storage unit. He found a couple of hidden gems. And Rashod Bateman is one of those hidden gems. Hey, we dust this off, right? We can flip this into a major piece. Just last year, the Cowboys were willing to give up a 3rd-round pick for Rashod Bateman. Just last year. So, boom, that's 2 instances of Jesse Minter talking about offense and kind of his philosophy. But the biggest one, I think the biggest one that not a whole lot of people are talking about. See if I can find it here. No, it's not in here. But I do have it saved up top in the dome because this was super important. And we'll get to the Zay and Lamar Jackson boxing thing here in a second. But the most important thing was this. Jesse Minter talked about, or he was asked about, what he's going to do in a lot of these 4th down situations. 4th and short, 4th and goals, things like that. What's your philosophy, Jesse, is what they asked him. And Jesse Minter basically said, yeah, we're going to lean into our players. We're going to lean into our players. Basically meaning, yeah, we've got a Lamar Jackson on 4th down. I'm going with him. When Jesse Minter could have easily said, as a defensive-minded head coach, he could have easily just went, yeah, in certain situations, we definitely want to give our special teams a chance to put the game in the hands of our defense. We really trust our defense. We got some great guys on that side of the ball. He's a defensive-minded guy. He could have easily said that. But no, he doubled down, just like last week on the Ravens Wired. I understand the assignment, Jesse Minter said. We got number 8. Okay, we have Lamar. We're going to use him. It's 4-down territory. We are going to get aggressive. And man, did that take me for a little mental joyride on what the future may look like for this Ravens team. This was when I realized this Ravens offense is going to be potent this year. Because just like somebody said earlier when we were talking about the whole should Lamar Jackson show up to the OTAs and things like that, just like somebody said earlier, they should show up to build trust with each other. Can you imagine? Well, let's take a trip down memory lane. You guys remember 2019, Ravens versus Seahawks in Seattle. Lamar Jackson's second year, first year as a starter. Game is tough. It's very close. Again, in Seattle, 12th man, all that good stuff. The Ravens get stopped on 3rd and goal. Brings up 4th and goal. Or no, it brought up 4th and 1 or 4th and 3 or something like that from the 4th. They were mad close to scoring. And Lamar Jackson was pissed. He runs to the sideline. And he's pissed. And John Harbaugh says, hey, do you want to go for that? And Lamar says, hell yeah, coach. Let's go for it. And guys were hyped. I know you guys remember. It's not just me. I know you guys remember that time. After that, we saw a full blown trust happened between Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson, and it was so evident. So what I'm saying is, fast forward that to today. You have Jesse Minter saying, yeah, on fourth and short situations, I'm going to trust Lamar. And he's put that on wax earlier today. He put it on record, guys. I'm trusting Lamar. That has to mean everything to a Lamar Jackson. And when it actually happens, again, man. Nero says the next week we handed Brady and the Pats their first loss of the season on Sunday Night Football at the bank. I remember it like it was yesterday, brother. Syndicate 707 says we went for things before and failed. Being aggressive only makes sense if the O-line can play. Yeah, brother. So here's the thing. As long as the Ravens do the right thing in the draft, I think that the Ravens' offensive line should be set. If you go out there and you get a Vega, if you go out there and you get a Fano, right, and you be as intentional as possible, which is very important to me. I don't know about your draft philosophy, but if you have a glaring need on the roster, no matter of the positional value that people deem on that position, right, you need to be intentional as possible as spending your highest draft capital on that player because it's your most glaring need. An interior O-line is our most glaring need. So I do think that the combination of new offensive line coach Dwayne Ledford, who's one of the best offensive line coaches in the in the league, the Ravens acquiring John Simpson, however you feel about him, he was more than serviceable for us last time he was in Baltimore. Got to cut down on the penalties a little bit, but definitely more than serviceable. I have a lot of faith in Emory Jones, but I'm not willing to, kind of just give it to Emory Jones. No, absolutely not. Still, go draft a guard with high draft capital and let's get cooking. Or you go back and you get, 36-year-old Kevin Zeitler? Go get him. He's still available, I'm pretty sure. There's options. There's ways to get it out here. Kevin Zeitler, by the way, however you guys might feel about him, last season, top 10 guard in pass protection. Number 9 to be exact. And that was per PFF. Rip them, by the way. Rest in peace, PFF, am I right? I don't know if you guys heard the news. But anyways, you guys get my point. I think that the offensive line, I get it. Nothing works without the interior of that offensive line moving guys out of the way. But I think that the Ravens are in a good spot right now to shore up the trenches before the season starts. I do believe that. Now, what happened to PFF? PFF, they sold the company. And they had a massive amount of layoffs. Yesterday, as a matter of fact. And a bunch of people who were working for the company are like speaking out on, how they're jobless now and, all this and that. And everybody's talking about unsubscribing to PFF because they think it's going to go under. I don't know. Syndicate says he thinks I'm far too optimistic. You must be new here, bro. Not gonna lie. Because I'm actually, some people would consider me to be a little negative at times, especially when it comes to certain players. Won't get into that. Anyway, I want to ask you guys a question. I want to ask you guys something. Has anybody, we are about what? Was it March 31st? Yes, March 31st. We're almost 2 months removed from the Super Bowl and the Seahawks winning it all. I walk a thin line between fan and foe. Sometimes I do, but that's the name of the game, What was I saying? Oh yeah, has anybody figured out how the Seattle Seahawks were able to, with a defensive-minded head coach? Has anybody else figured out how they were able to take a defensive-minded head coach and have the nucleus of Sam Darnold Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. With all due respect to those guys, nobody is looking at those specific skill players as the top two in any of their respective positions. Maybe not even top three. Because I think a wide receiver, you can go Jettas, you can go Puka, and you can go Jamar Chase. And maybe another guy or two before you get to JSN. JSN's probably that fourth right now, top paid, but he's probably fourth wide receiver in the league, skill-wise. But you guys get my point here. Like, has anybody figured out how they were able to do that with a defensive-minded head coach? I think I can tell you why. I think I can lend you a little bit of advice and drop some knowledge and some game as to why that happened. Why were the Seattle Seahawks first in points per play last year? Why were the Seattle Seahawks third in scoring last year? Again, with a defensive-minded head coach. Well, Sutton, is obviously because of Clint Kubiak and what he was able to do with that offense. He's an offensive genius. Did you forget Clint Kubiak, right? Sure. And you got to give credit and kudos to Clint Kubiak for what he was able to do with that offense. However, and I promise you I'm making a point here, so please walk with me. If you listen to a recent interview of Clint Kubiak, he says it all. He says that he was terrified to provide his offensive game plan for the week to head coach Mike McDonald. Why? Because Clint Kubiak would come up with the offense's game plan for the week. He'd take it to head coach Mike Mack. He'd say, hey, coach, got the game plan ready for the offense. Mike Mack would be like, hey, let me take a look. Let me take a look at that. This is your offensive game plan? Okay, very cool. Here's 3 to 5 ways I would shut all of this down. Then hand it back to him. Go back to the drawing board. And you iron out all those kinks. I can imagine it would be like when you hand in your test at school, your quiz, remember back when you were in grade school, and you would get it back from your teacher, and she would mark it up with a whole bunch of red pen and where you got stuff wrong. I could imagine it would be something like that. That type of constructive criticism. That type of, hey, look, man, I get what you're going for here, but here's how I would stop it. As one of the best defensive minds in the sport right now, as a coach, here's how I would shut this down. Clint Kubiak said, oh, okay, let me go back, iron out those kinks, we'll bring him back. Now game day, you got Sam Darnold looking like Tom Brady. You got JSN looking like Randy Moss. You got Kenneth Walker winning Super Bowl MVP. So what am I saying here? I think you're going to get the same thing with Jesse Minter in Baltimore. Or maybe not the same thing, but a similar thing. As we know, Jesse Minter has said this himself. He said it last week. Him and Mike McDonald, kind of on the same wavelength. They talk a lot. So I think what we're going to see this year, especially with all the things we've been hearing from Jesse Minter so far, like how he wants to be hands-on with the offense. He believes in Bateman, like we mentioned earlier. You know what I'm saying? Lamar's his number one priority. They want to go for it on 4th downs instead of just blindly trusting the defense because that's his side of the ball. I think he's going to be super hands-on with this offense, especially considering you have a 29-year-old Declan Doyle. And this is why I think it's a match made in heaven right here. You've got 29-year-old whiz kid, and I'm not calling him a kid. This is actually what Rick Minter, Jesse Minter's dad, called him. You got a 29-year-old whiz kid at offensive coordinator who's got all these ideas. He's a tape grinder. You know what I'm saying? He's an innovator himself. And you saw what, the tandem of him and Ben Johnson were able to do with Chicago and Caleb Williams in Caleb's second year last year. So he's got all these ideas, and you give him a Lambo like Lamar. You give him the keys to that Lambo. And you got Joe Brady sitting next to him, kind of guiding him, directing him. But Jesse Minter is going to be right there providing that same sort of constructive criticism that Mike McDonald provided for Clint Kubiak last year. Oh, this is your game plan for the week, Declan? Here's 3 ways I would stop that. Now let's go back to the drawing board and adjust. And let's let iron sharpen iron like that. Think about to last year. Who was going to check Todd Monken? Todd Monken come with an offensive game plan. Go to Harbaugh. Hey, Harbs, look, offensive game plan's done. Harb's like, I'm a special teams guy. I'm a special teams guy. Zach Orr's a literal infant in terms of like coaching, right? Where were the checks and balances, man? And so my overall point is this, guys. I think that young, defensive-minded head coaches are going to take over the National Football League in short order. We saw it last year with Mike McDonald, who in his second year as head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, in his second year, a defensive-minded head coach was able to make Sam Darnold look damn near like an MVP. Was able to get Jackson Smith and Jigba enough for Offensive Player of the Year. And again, shout out to these individual players. They did their thing respectively. Not saying they didn't. But I think, again, a lot of that has to do with a young defensive-minded head coach who knows how to challenge his offense so that they're ready for game day against anything. They're prepared for anything. That's what it looks like. That's what I think is going to take over this league. Now, here's the one caveat. It's not just defensive-minded head coaches. The reason why I'm throwing young, I'm throwing that adjective in there, because younger guys tend to be less conservative and more innovative. What do I mean by that? In other words, if you get an older defensive coordinator in the building, he might just completely, or not defensive coordinator, if you get an older head coach in the building and he's defensive minded, he might just completely defer and delegate the roles and responsibilities of the offense to the offensive coordinator. Because, he's been around for a long time. Defense is what he knows, is what he does, is his passion. Can't move him off it. Just like a lot of older people. You get set in your ways. But I think that a lot of these guys now, these younger guys, they're young enough to not be so set in one specific way. I think he's going to want to be hands-on with Lamar in the offense. And he's going to be in the war room breaking things down with Declan Doyle actively. That's what excites me. And that's what makes me think that as long as they get the O-line straight, which like I talked about before, I think that they have plenty of avenues to get that done. Whether it be draft, there's still some guys in free agency. They can still shore up those trenches on the interior in a couple of different ways. As long as they do that, and there's buy-in from everybody on this team, of course, I think that this offense, just talking about the offense specifically, actually, just talking about the offense specifically, they will go nuts. You're going to see this Ravens offense get back to prime form. I'm talking mid-2019 season where nobody had an answer for Lamar in the offense, the Ravens offense. I'm talking 2024 season where nobody had an answer for Lamar in the offense. It's always when the Ravens hit you with a new punch. 2019, first year Lamar as a starter. This is a brand new punch. We got a whole offseason to develop, build off of the things he did in 2018 where he finished the last, 6 or 7 games. 2019 was his best year. Second best year, 2024. First year with Todd Monken. Throw a little bit of a different punch at you. Now, first year with Jesse Minter and Declan Doyle and a whole new coaching staff. It's going to be a completely different array of moves. Who's defending that? Who's defending that? I feel sorry for the Ravens' first 4 to 6 opponents. And yes, I may be sounding a little bit optimistic tonight, but what Jesse Minter said today has me fired up, guys. And if it has you fired up too for this upcoming Ravens season, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel as well. Let me see. Let me read the chat here. I see my guy Taurus is in here. What's going on, Taurus? We had baby boomers on our coaching staff. Facts. Facts. It wasn't nobody holding nobody accountable. Nobody was holding nobody accountable. Man, John Harbaugh really told Steve Bisciotti to his face. Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong. I don't see nothing wrong. Let me keep Zach Orr. Let me keep Todd Monken. Let's run it back. Let's just do it again. Same thing. He said, Steve, are you not entertained? Right? Giving the fans blue balls every single year. Having amazing regular seasons. And then falling short in the playoffs, or even worse, this season, trying to scratch and claw to make it into the playoffs. We almost get there. We're a field goal away. Then we missed the field goal? Come on, man. Come on, man. What are we talking about? 2024 was Lamar's best season. I agree. I don't see nothing wrong. Yeah, I knew somebody was going to say it. I knew somebody was going to put it in the chat. That's funny. Let me see. Seems like y'all going back and forth a little bit here in the chat. Tanja in the house. What's going on? Another member in the house says Zay needs a dog to pair with him. I agree. You know I was a big proponent of going out and getting AJ Brown earlier in this offseason before things started to shake out the way that they have. I was like, yeah, let's go get him. Because he would be a dominant receiver, like a dog to pair up with Zay, like you're talking about, Tanja. But I don't see that happening anymore. So, I mean, you're really looking at the draft now, and I'm honestly not a big fan of picking a receiver early in the draft. Like, I would actually be disgusted if the Ravens drafted a receiver at 14. I would be disgusted if the Ravens drafted a receiver at 14. I don't care if it's Mekhi Lemon. I don't care if it's Jordan Tyson. Hell, I don't care if it's Carnell Tate. Because guess what? Those guys can't get the ball. Those guys cannot get the ball if you don't have the interior blocking for them. Oh, but suddenly the guard class is deep. So, who cares? Again, I don't think you guys understand. You got to be as intentional as possible, shoring up those trenches first and foremost. Because for all that logic, there's some really good receivers deep in this draft class too. I always refer back to my guy Jason's big board. I love going back to it. As a matter of fact, let me pull that up. Pull that up real quick. See my guy Jason. Bring up his big board because I got to go back and see how many names he had as, kind of top tier talent, like day 1, day 2 type of talent here in the first round. Well, not first round, but in this draft. Let me see here. So let's go positional ranks. We look at wide receivers. Yeah, I mean, he's got a ton of names here. Some of these guys a little bit more banged up than others. Casey Concepcion, Jordan Tyson, apparently made out of glass. But, a couple of these guys, Chris Brazzell, Jeremy Bernard, those are 2 guys that kind of fit that mold, bigger receivers who could be, have like a dog to them. We look at tight ends. We also talked about Michael Trigg is another potential guy who can come in and kind of give you that dog factor as well. So I feel like there's options at pass catcher, just like a lot of people say there are at guard. But if you look at Jason's big board, guard is a lot more shallow than wide receiver. So yes, I am interior O-line or bust in the first 2 rounds. And I'll go out on a limb and I'll say this. If the Ravens do not draft an offensive lineman, an interior offensive lineman, within the first 2 picks of this draft, the max grade I can give them is a C-. That's the max grade I can give them. And they would have to hit those first 2 picks out of the park. They would have to be 2 amazing players. That's me. Tanja says, if the top offensive linemen are off the board, I would not mind. If we take a wide receiver, it's a big need. Yeah. Wide receiver is a need. I don't know about it's not as big of a need as offensive linemen. And I think that's my point here. Smitty says back-to-back 1,000-yard season shouldn't get hate. I guess we're talking about Zay Flowers here. I don't know. Is that who we're talking about? Somebody let me know. I don't know. Take a quick break here. We'll be right back. Quiet Storm Sports. Be sure to like the video. All right. So addressing this as we are back here, Quiet Storm Sports, Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Shout out to y'all for tuning in. Again, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Sitting at 34 likes right now on the video. Please be sure to get those likes up. We'd appreciate that. And again, also shout out to the replay gang as well. Leave whatever you got down below in the comments section. But back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons shouldn't get hate. That's cool. Smitty says Zay is the Ravens' best drafted wide receiver. Best drafted wide receiver. Maybe. Most of the Ravens' good wide receivers over the years have been mercenaries. Most of them have been mercenaries. So you might be right about that. Anyway, I don't think that, no, I did not go to use the bathroom. Got to pay the bills. No, Zay might be the Ravens' best drafted wide receiver. Yes, you're right about that. However, I do still think that you need someone to complement Zay. And I think that's what Tanja was talking about earlier. That's why it is a need on the team. But again, that's why I'm looking at a guy like Rashod Bateman. And I'm sure Jesse Minter is looking at a guy like Rashod Bateman. I know you guys are rolling your eyes right now. But that's what Zay needs. Zay needs that. Somebody to take the attention away from him. And we brought it up last week, I want to say. If you look at the target distribution for the Chicago Bears last year, under Declan Doyle as offensive coordinator, it was spread out. it was spread around, So I think that you could see a scenario this year where Rashod Bateman's getting a lot more opportunities. I'm talking more than just the regular standard 2 targets per game that he would average, the last couple of years, 2, 3 targets per game. Which what receiver is going to get in a rhythm with that type of, target share? I get it. Ravens are a run first offense, but you got to get these guys involved if you want them to be able to contribute. Or else you just be picking them up cold as ice off the bench, and you guys get mad when Rashod Bateman drops one pass. It's not in the rhythm. You got to get him cooking. Him, Tez Walker, all those guys. We could really see. You would have to tip your cap to Declan Doyle and Jesse Minter and just the entire new regime, the new coaching staff, if they're able to unlock guys like Tez and Bateman to be, great pieces alongside Zay Flowers. We already know what Zay Flowers can do. Hell, we know what Bateman can do. Jesse Minter knows what he can do. It's just about bringing that back out of him, But that's why I said again, like, you can't put the cart before the horse. You got to go ahead and get those old linemen first, or else it doesn't matter who we have out there. You might as well have me out there, if the O line isn't right, because receivers aren't going to be getting the ball anyway if Lamar is on the, on his backside. Anyways, Ashley says, love my bait supporters. Appreciate y'all. Always, always, always. Again, be sure to like the video. Appreciate that. Bring back D-Hop. Give him his flowers. No pun intended. Yeah, I give Zay his flowers when they're due. But he better be running straight next season. I know that. All right. One more thing here on this episode of the show, Quiet Storm Sports. Speaking of Zay Flowers, we did get a little video action today of Zay Flowers and Lamar Jackson continuing their boxing careers of sorts, right? And this is like a little cinematic video shot by some dude named Eric A.P. Land, I want to say. Not exactly sure. But they're being trained to do boxing. And we saw this a couple of weeks ago. Lamar Jackson was training some boxing and whatnot. And I was talking about how, this is actually really good. It's really good for Lamar. Best athletes play multiple sports, right? Because there's certain, muscle memory and movements that you take from certain sports and you can apply to other ones. Now, I do think it's a little bit more beneficial for a quarterback when you talk about like hip rotation, generating torque from your lower half and things like that, because you need a lot of that to punch and throw punches and turn your punches over in boxing. And that relates to, throwing a football. Not really sure how much it relates to, wide receiver play. But at the end of the day, it looks like these two guys are having a lot of fun, doing this. And it kind of speaks to the relationship, the connection between Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers. I say it all the time. Like, those Florida boys, man, they stick together. They stick together. And you can tell on the field, as much as I, will say what I say about Zay Flowers from time to time, as much as I say about him, like, the reason why he's so damn good in Baltimore is because he has that chemistry with Lamar. I say it all the time, that backyard football. There's a reason why Zay Flowers caught 2 touchdown passes against the Steelers in Week 18. He's one of the best at when the play breaks down, when the initial play, that is, breaks down, and Lamar Jackson scrambles out and creates a second play within that one rep. Zay Flowers does a phenomenal job at making himself available, right? It's like they play that game that, kids play on the playground or in the cul-de-sac, wherever kids are playing nowadays, where, they're playing football, they're tossing the football to each other, and they're acting like the clock is expiring and they need a last second touchdown. People do this like buzzer beaters. They're shooting around basketballs in their driveways and stuff like that. You can tell they just grew up doing that. Hey, scramble drill, you just get downfield, like scramble around a little bit, go downfield. I'm going to get it to you. I'm going to find you. They've been doing that their whole entire lives. There's a reason why Hollywood Brown was the same way with Lamar. It was the exact same connection. right? The exact same connection. So again, I think it speaks to the relationship that these two guys have. And then also, I think this means you're definitely going to see Zay Flowers get extended in Baltimore. Definitely. Zay getting KO'd in the first round. Oh, goodness. What are y'all talking about? They look like they never had a fight swinging like that. Boxing is no joke. Cardio is crazy. Oh, yeah, cardio and conditioning. For sure. For sure. What's going on, Keto? Yeah, definitely some conditioning here. Keto says that's what D Hop said on Butters, so just get open. For sure. Now we run a strict program now, sudden everything will be on time. I disagree. I disagree. You saw what Declan Doyle has said. Declan Doyle literally said himself a couple of weeks ago at his introductory presser. He was saying how he recognizes Lamar's ability to create a second play within one rep, and how important that is for them to make sure that when that does happen, that things are in the right place and guys are in the right place and things like that. Uh, so yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be a strict program. I think they're going to use Lamar Jackson's abilities to their advantage, and they're not going to limit him. Again, these are younger guys. I feel like they're going to be more innovative. They're going to throw a little bit of a different punch, no pun intended. They're going to throw a much different punch than what the league is used to seeing from the Lamar Jackson led Ravens. I truly do believe it. That's what I believe. And I think it'll benefit everybody. And I'll tell you who would benefit from a strict program, everything on time, ball out quick, 3-step drop, hitch, ball out, Rashod Bateman. Because that's the type of receiver Rashod Bateman truly is at heart. At heart, Rashod Bateman, man, he'd go off. He'd go crazy with the likes of a Matthew Stafford. He'd go crazy. Hell, he'd go crazy with Tua Tagovailoa. He'd go crazy with Jared Goff. Are you kidding me? But yeah, no, I disagree there, Taurus. But yeah, guys, I think that's about all we had here on today's show. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. By the way, we had another episode of Sudden Reactions this morning. First one in a while. We had a lot of fun. Appreciate all of y'all for coming through. We talked about some funny stuff, some serious stuff. So if you do want to hear me continue yapping and talking about things outside of football, please go check out our Sudden Reactions right here on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel, or at the actual Sudden Reactions YouTube channel, just at Sudden Reactions on YouTube. You can check out the episodes there. No, I think that was about it. Oh, Mentor said the team will have more injury updates later in the offseason program. He said that Nnamdi Madubuike's status is to be determined and declined to say whether there's growing optimism about his status, and said he's in a great place mentally. Yeah, so kind of just we're going back and forth, right? We're going back and forth, guys, on whether or not Madubuike, we should be optimistic about him, whether or not we should be pessimistic about him, whether or not we should just go back to feeling indifferent, like he's just, never going to come back, and we're just thinking that way. I don't know what to believe anymore. Okay, I don't know what to believe anymore. I want to believe, my heart wants me to believe that Madubuike is going to be coming back, because why else would he be posting all these exercise videos, kind of like, making it seem like he's going to make a return to football. But then you got the big wigs in Baltimore, head coach, president, GM, everybody. Hell, maybe we need to ask Steve. Steve would keep it real with us. Stevie B would keep it real. He'd be like, look, here's the deal. I'm a billionaire. And he's going to play. That's basically what he would say. Okay. And I would eat that up for sure. Pause. Anyway, you guys get my point. Madubuike, we don't know what the hell is going on with him. We're just going to have to wait and see at this point. Do you go in the draft? I think the draft will kind of tell us what the outlook is on him, like on Matabike. If they go out and they draft a defensive tackle, an interior D lineman, within the first 3 or 4 selections, I think that probably would tell you where Matabike is at or where they think he's at. If they wait till later on, they pick up a guy, fifth round, sixth round, something like that, and that's kind of like their project guy that they pick up in the draft, then maybe they do have a little bit of a inside track of information on knowing that he's going to be good to go. Maybe they're just not trying to reveal all their cards yet. You know, it is before the draft. I mean, these guys are going to lie, if anything, to protect their, I guess, how do you say it? Their strategy, to protect their strategy in the draft. Because you don't want everybody knowing that, like, oh, Matabike is not coming back. Now the Ravens need another interior D lineman. That affects how the Ravens board falls, and then that also affects how everybody else's board looks, right? So I don't know. At this point, I've kind of thrown my hands up over Matabike, and it's like, all right, we'll just see when they're ready to give us a real update. We'll be here. We'll be here. What else here? What else here? Ravens coach Jesse Minter said he's really excited about the addition of safety Jalen Hawkins. So am I. Explained his addition will allow Kyle Hamilton to be a chess piece and do, quote, a lot of cool things, end quote. Also said he expects he'll do well with Malachi Starks. Yeah, so this is something that we've already kind of talked about, guys, in the last couple of weeks, especially after we got Jalen Hawkins. We know Jalen Hawkins is just going to be plug and play in that sort of a Alohi Gilman role. And that's what Minter actually alluded to in the presser here. He said it's kind of basically going to do what Gilman did. And that allows you to have Kyle Hamilton, kind of like how we used Derwin James. And he brought up Derwin James' name again, by name, and said, yeah, you guys know what I was able to do with him. Basically, I can do the same things with Kyle Hamilton, if not more. Hamilton has shown signs that, like, he's so physical, right? I mean, you got Kyle Hamilton slamming into 360-pound offensive guards, right? And knocking them on their butt. We're talking about a safety doing this type of stuff. He's super physical, but also the mental side. The mental side is there as well. Can you imagine how many times you're going to see Kyle Hamilton either coming off of the edge, shooting down the B gap after the quarterback on a 3rd and long or whatever? How many times we're probably going to see is Kyle Hamilton blitzing from one side of the line and the quarterback knowing he's hot to that side and trying to throw into that void, and Kyle Hamilton hopping up and tipping a pass? We've seen it happen before. I mean, again, edge rushers. I mean, Trey Hendrickson, of course, beast. Mike Green, who's, like we mentioned earlier in the show, is going to have a lot of one-on-one opportunities. Travis Jones, beast. Nnamdi Madubuike, if he plays, beast. Those guys aside, man, Kyle Hamilton is just going to be able to do whatever he wants to do. He's basically just going to be the manager of the defense. Like the manager in like a department store or something like that. The manager can do pretty much everybody's job. He can rush off the edge. He can drop back in coverage. He can stop the run in the A gap and the B gap. You know what I'm saying? He can do it all. He's going to be the manager of that defense. And him and Kyle, Minter and Kyle, that is, are going to have a very, very good relationship. And I think that they already do. Because, like I mentioned earlier, Jesse Minter also said here today that, like, he was just talking to Kyle Hamilton the other day and telling him, hey, look, getting Jalen Hawkins in, that's going to make using you so much better for us. Like, we're going to be able to get you to do a whole bunch of things. So listen, man, what you take from these mid-off season interviews, I guess you could just do with a grain of salt, right? Because they don't really say too much, and that's on purpose, right? It's by design. They don't give us a lot of information. But I think sometimes you have to read between the lines. And if you are ever looking for a Ravens content creator in this space who's going to do that, you know it's your boy Sutton. I do always try to provide a slightly different perspective based off of, kind of just like how I think and what I see, because a lot of people wouldn't take anything from what Sashi Brown said yesterday. Sashi Brown really didn't say much at all, about the highlight of what he was talking about was those damn uniforms. But people said, oh, Jesse Minter, master of saying nothing at all. And it's like, no, I think he said a lot here. I think he said a lot here. And I had all day to think about it, and I wanted to bring these ideas to you. And I'm glad I did. But that's pretty much all I got here for this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Appreciate each and every one of y'all for coming through. Be sure, please like this video. Please, if you have not already, like the video and subscribe to our channel here, the Purple Rain Podcast. We appreciate that. We do have daily Ravens content coming out for you on top of other sports as well. Primarily, I've been really focusing on MMA lately. MMA, there's a whole show. There's a whole show that we have on this channel that's ready to go, locked and loaded. I'm just looking for a fellow MMA fan to host the show with. And I got some ideas, and stay tuned because we're going to have some guests on. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Otherwise, that's it for me, guys. Love you guys. Appreciate y'all. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.